This tutorial is about researching federal administrative law on Lexis. Federal administrative law falls under the executive branch of the government, which at the federal level is headed by the U.S. President. Federal administrative law includes enabling statutes in the U.S. Code, executive orders from the President directing agency actions themselves, and court decisions in the U.S. courts. To research federal administrative law on Lexis, you have several options. You can, of course, use the Google type search box at the top and then sort through all of the results after you get a results list and narrow it to federal administrative law. You can also choose below the search box either the Content tab or the Federal tab. Keep in mind that this is the similar way that you would do research for state administrative law. You would just choose the State tab and then the state you're concerned with, and then administrative materials. So to start out with, in the administrative law process, what happens is the legislature will write what is called an enabling statute that creates an agency, sets out its mandate, puts restrictions on what the agency can and cannot do, etc. Those enabling statutes are found in the United States Code or the U.S. statutes. So to begin, you can click Federal and then U.S. Code Service, which is Lexis's version of the U.S. statutes. When you do that, anytime, and this is the same on Lexis and Westlaw and any of the big databases, when you choose a particular set of information or a particular category, it narrows where your search box looks. It will also change your advanced search options. Both of these are dynamic. So as you make choices, that's the only place then that the search is going to look. So we've chosen the United States Code Service. Now, if I type search terms into the search box where it says enter search terms, it's only going to look for those in the U.S. Code. Yes, I can browse by scrolling down and opening up the different titles, but I can also search through the U.S. Code just using this page. Advanced search, again, is going to be specific to whatever I've chosen, in this case, the U.S. statutes. If I say, okay, I know that the agency exists and I'm pretty comfortable with what they're allowed to do, let me see the actual regulations that they have written. Federal agencies as well as state agencies use what's called a notice and comment rulemaking process, which is they are going to publish a notice that they intend to write a particular regulation. They're going to ask for comments from regular citizens, from businesses, from other agencies, whoever's concerned with that particular proposed regulation. They'll take those comments, they might amend the proposed regulation and publish it again. Okay, we've heard your comments, now we're suggesting the regulation read like this, and that goes back and forth in that notice and comment process until they reach a final version, and then they will publish the final version and say, here's the regulation, this is the date that it's going to take effect. Once that happens, then they publish it in what is called the Federal Administrative Code. So you can find all of those administrative materials, the daily newspaper where that process takes place, as well as the administrative code itself, on Lexis, on Westlaw, on all the big databases. So when you first sign into Lexis, you'll notice there's a Content tab below your search bar. That's the default. And under the Content tab, you'll see Administrative Codes, Administrative Materials. You can click on either of those and then choose either federal or state, and which state. Also, though, notice beside the Content tab is a tab for federal. So you could go right to that and then choose your administrative materials that you want. The Federal Register is the daily newspaper where all of those notices and requests for comments, where all of those get published. You can access that here, you can search it, you can browse it. I'm going to click on Federal Register just so you can see. It takes me to the Federal Register page. Now my search bar is only going to look in the Federal Register because that's what I've chosen. Keep in mind that the advanced search over to the right is also dynamic. Because I have chosen the Federal Register, it's going to give me advanced search options just for this particular category of document. I can browse through the Federal Register as well, so if I know about when something was published or if I have a citation, I can go to it that way also. Now, let's say all the process has happened, the regulation has taken effect, it's gone into the Code of Federal Regulations. That's also called the CFR, and you'll notice back on the home page under Federal, there is a link for the CFR. If I click on that, it's going to take me to the existing code of federal regulations. These are all of the agency regulations that are in place right now that people have to follow. Again, because I've made a choice, now that I'm here on the CFR site, any search terms I enter in the box, it's only going to look in the CFR. The advanced search equally is going to be dynamic, and it's going to give me options specifically for searching the Code of Federal Regulations. Yes, I can browse down below. I can check the boxes next to particular titles or parts that I want it to search. Right, any combination of searching and browsing can be done from here. If I want other administrative materials, I can do that as well. If I want guidance documents, if I want presidential documents and executive orders that are directing agency action, I can find those under the Federal tab also. Here's the page for federal administrative materials, and it will give you an idea of where they're getting this material from the different departments, from the different agencies. Yes, I can search. It's only going to search where I've chosen, which is in federal administrative materials. If I want to look in the presidential documents and executive orders, again, when I click on that link, it's going to make my search box look only in those particular places. And then it gives me options for what type of information do I have? Do I have a citation? Do I have a date? Do I have a publication title? Do I know what specifically I'm looking for? Whatever clues I have, I can search this way. Also then, once federal regulations are in place, an agency will then also enforce those regulations. There is a hearing process within each agency, so if your client is charged with being out of compliance with a particular regulation, your client then can have a hearing before an administrative law judge within that agency. The judge will then issue an order. If you're not happy with that, you can appeal that order, again, within the agency. Once you have exhausted that process within the agency, you've gone all the way up through. If you still don't like the outcome, then you can appeal it out to the federal court system. So there are a couple different ways that you can challenge something from an agency in the U.S. courts. One is to challenge the application of that particular regulation. Another is to challenge the agency's ability to rule in that area. And that goes back to the enabling statute that created the agency. So both of those things are heard by the U.S. court system. So yes, I want to challenge this regulation, or I want to challenge the agency's ability to actually rule in this area. Both of those things you'll find in U.S. court cases. So again, you can, from the Lexis webpage, you can use the search box at the top, search for whatever it is you're dealing with, maybe a regulation citation, and then choose U.S. court cases, or below the search box you can choose federal and then all federal cases. When you do that, it's going to take you to a search page specifically for the U.S. court opinions. And again, your search box is only going to look in federal cases now because that's what you've chosen, and you can search with whatever clues you have: party name, court date, agency name, citation maybe to a particular regulation, whatever information you have to search by. For more instruction on how to research administrative law, both federal and state, please see the other tutorials in this series. For research assistance on anything, you can contact us at any time. You can stop by the library, or you can email us at lawrefgp@law.stetson.edu, or you can call us 727-562-7821.